Okay, so my driver was in here and he was looking at the job. And of course he shakes his head a lot. He's like, Jesus, Pete, there's a lot of work to do here. But, you know, hey, whatever. Anyways, he says, hey, he says, that ain't gonna work. It just isn't gonna work. I'm like, what are you talking about? I got air conditioning lines here. And I have the brand new air conditioner line. Anybody see why that won't work? Can you see why that won't work? John Deere contracts hose companies to put these things together. And obviously, they contracted a hose company that didn't know what a male or a female was. So I have gay air conditioning lines. They're 2 female ends. So now that they're lesbian lines, I can't do anything with it. So I've called John Deere up on the issue, and not only is this one wrong, but this one's wrong too. I looked over here. And here's the other line, right there. Same thing, female, not male. So somewhere someone has screwed up. So they're going to be giving me some new lines. Unfortunately, it's going to take a while, like 2 or 3 days. I told them to overnight the damn thing. So anyway, yeah, that's how the progress is going here. I'm slowed by dummies. You know, and I'm sure all you red guys are going to be like, yeah, junk Deere, can't even get a hose right. Well, okay. But anyways, yeah, I don't like that. I guess they're all loose like that. It just seems kind of clutch-like. Anyways, yeah, here it is. That's going to have to come off, which is going to impede everything that I'm doing here. I wanted to get the radiator back in, the oil cooler back in today, replace this, and go in search of that size hose. Because I need to have that. Oh no, I've got that. Which goes over and then down to here, all the way to here, which, again, I have that too. And I have a new piece of this stuff also. This stuff right here. So anyways, yeah, alright, back to work. I got a new one of these too. So I guess I'm going to go back to I guess I'm going to start putting the intake and exhaust manifold on. Sounds like a good thing to do today, right? It does to me. Alright, here we go. Next. Alright, it's going together pretty good. What I've done is I have lightly installed the exhaust manifold and the intake manifold. You kind of got to put them on there loose before you crank them down. You want to just... yeah, you want to be careful. You don't want to get rammy at this stage in the operation. Now, a few of these things, these bolts here, as you can see, they're kind of sticking up there. Well, these bolts, you can't get them in. Like this one here, it'll hit this. So you either take this off or you stick the bolt in before you get it, you know, get the intercooler up there. This one here, you can get in. This one here you can get in, but this, and this one, those 3 you can't. So what I did was really pretty simple. I went over and I got myself an O-ring. See that O-ring on there? And I just slipped it on the bolt to hold it into place so that it's not so difficult to put it on. Now, I could have probably installed the intercooler with it all together, but it's a whole lot harder to get your hands in there. You know, you got to fish the bolt in, and you got to have an extension, and in order to get it in there properly, it's just going to be a real bastard. Excuse my French again. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a socket and a ratchet and an extension, and I'm going to tighten those down. I got to torque them, but you're not going to see that because I just, you know, it just takes up too much video. But anyways, they have to be torqued down. I forget what the foot-pounds are. I think it's like 30 foot-pounds for this, and I think it's pretty close to the same there. I don't know. I got to look again. But yeah, anyways, all right, I'm going to start putting that together, and then I'll show you. I got new gaskets to go in the intercooler, new gasket and seal for the intercooler. So yeah, stay tuned. Here we go. Okay. Now for the fun part, which is always a fun part. I mean, I don't mind fun parts. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put in I'm going to put on the intercooler. This is a lower tray to the intake manifold. Well, I call it a tray, but it is the lower part of the intake manifold. Now, between I gotta find my little screwdriver I had here a little bit ago. I know I had it. Yeah, I guess it don't matter. I'll use this. Oh, here it is. Between the intake manifold and the intercooler core, there are nice little gaskets. Okay, so you kind of just stuff those gaskets up on there. I got to take those O-rings out of there. But before I do that, I want to get the intercooler set in there. On anyway. So anyways, this is how this goes. Alright. So what's it going to look like inside there? A lot of people have never seen one of these things. So what this does is there's water goes through here. And this one was built in '93 according to the way it's labeled, 1993. Somebody's had this thing assembled in Mexico from parts of U.S. origin. Way to go, U.S. So anyways, enough of me babbling. There's a gasket that goes between here on the on the water lines. So you see that little guy there? That goes right here. Right here. So I kind of got to get the old one off because it's hard and just no good. So you want to get everything set up to do that. But anyways, how these things work. The air comes down through that thing that I'm going to put over the top of that. It goes down through here. This has water in it from the engine. So this engine runs, I believe, at 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Compressed air creates an enormous amount of heat from the compression. So some of those temperatures can reach 300 degrees. So what happens is that hot air goes down through here at a high volume. The water is at 180 degrees, decreasing the pressure or decreasing the temperature of the air as it goes into the engine and warming it up vice versa in the wintertime. So what that does is cold air is denser, forcing more, which in turn makes more air go into the engine due to the cooler air. So denser air going into them cylinders creates higher compression, more oxygen, more power. So that's why they do that. And the thing with a lot of people will say, what the hell does an aftercooler do? Well, an aftercooler is kind of the same thing, only the air leaving the engine is, well, let's face it, it's hot and it's big. Let's put it that way. It's big. It's expanded air. So what you have to do, and that thing is hard and no longer going to seal anything because it has cracks in it. I don't know if you can see them. I'm going to show them to you. Maybe you can see them there. They're all cracked up. Air can escape there, losing pressure, causing horsepower. Loss of horsepower. So, back to this. Yeah, I forget what the hell I was saying. Oh well. So anyway, I'll just slip these on. I can't believe it. But they'll fit right on there because they're nice and soft. See? And that's that. So I have one new gasket on there. And this is an old gasket. So I'm going to just drop that. I don't need it. I have a new gasket right here. And we're going to put that on. So anyway, this intercooler was taken off of another tractor, and somebody had it apart at one time. And where they mounted it to the tractor, they were too cheap to buy the new gaskets. And when you're too cheap to buy the new gaskets, what do you suppose happens? Well, you take sealant and you put it on there. Well, if you use a good sealant, not the copper, copper's for heat, and this is going to be cold. There's a tacky red stuff that you can spray on there. Very good product. If you're going to be cheap and cheesy like that, that's what you do. I, on the other hand, don't feel like being cheap and cheesy on this project. Of course, I got no room to do anything here. But I'm not cheap and cheesy on the project because I want this thing to last a very long time. Therefore, I'm going to spend the money on the damn gaskets. You know, I've spent, like I said before, I spent $11,000 on parts. $11,000 on parts. So, used new parts. The used parts were another $7,500. No, used parts $7,000. By the time I paid for the fuel to go, $7,000. So anyway, that's the whole enchilada there. So if you're going to spend, say, $18,000 on new and used parts, you had damn well better go ahead and buy the right gaskets that go in there. I mean, to save 5 cents on an $11,000 job is kind of ridiculous, if you ask me. Alright, so what I'm going to do is run them bolts up through there, just like so. Make sure that they actually line up and everything goes where it belongs, which it does. Okay, so now that I've got that on, I'm going to get the shell. The upper shell. Oh, okay, like I was saying before, it's the upper shell of the intercooler. And here's where it's to be sealed. Now somebody tried to put some kind of a grease or a sealant on that at some point in time, which is not the most brilliant thing, because that grease is not going to do anything. You have to put it on this way and there. Now, if you get that thing centered over the top, like so. Where'd that bolt go? She hit. Well, I'm going to have to shut you all down until I find some stuff. Okay, I'm going to tune you out for now. Let's see, what'd you see? Anything? You saw something? Yeah.